Hey everyone, Tony here. Tony's OPs are us. Thanks for dropping in. I have a fun segment today. It's an easy segment. As you can see from the title, I went on a few yard sales Saturday, went out early. On one occasion, I was the first one there. I was able to pick up about 10 LPs and some tapes. Went to another yard sale, picked up two albums, not anything good. I think someone else was there earlier. So you're talking yard sales open at 8. I was there at 7:30. Um, I kind of knew about this one because I saw a sign 2 weeks ago, and I took a photo and I remembered to head out there. It's easier and more difficult now to find out advertised yard sales. For me, I used to get the old newspaper ads in our local paper or our treasure hunt paper, which is a free paper, and people would place ads in there a week ahead of time, and you could map out, what yard sales you want to do. You can only do one at a time, and usually if they do indicate records or vinyl or 8-track tapes or cassettes in there, I usually head at that one. But that doesn't mean the yard sales that do not advertise records don't have records off. On many occasions, I went up to the person running the show and I said, I'm looking for records. Oh yeah, we have records in it, and they pulled them out. And that way, you're basically the first one to get a look at the records. And in most cases, these people don't really have an attachment to their records. They haven't looked up the records on eBay or online or Discogs to find out that this Fleetwood Mac album sells for 20, so they're going to want 20, or without even checking out condition because they know nothing about condition. So there are some good and bad, but I still like the old-fashioned print because you get inundated with yard sales online, and it's usually regional. And I'm not going to drive 2 hours and come up empty-handed. So like I said, I saw that there was a yard sale, and it actually had on there LPs, comic books, tapes. So I kind of knew that this person had LPs. And when I got there, I'll show you some of the LPs. What I've done is I have the crate that I picked up this weekend. But in my travels home, I stopped at 2 more, just random. And on the second one, I basically hit what I consider a gold mine of vinyl, of vintage vinyl and a Grail. So stay to the end because I have a mint Grail. And the reason I know it's mint is because I put it on the turntable after I cleaned it just to give it a twirl. And the spindle is so tight, it will not fit on the spindle. And as you know, I've done a video that shows you how to, it's almost free, inexpensively make that millimeter fraction larger so that it would fit on spindle. And that's just with a pencil. I didn't even do that with this one. I put it down, and then I had a hard time pulling it up. So this is incredible. It's a Grail. It's a holy Grail. They're out there. There's plenty out there, but to find one in the wild and not up on a wall in a record store for whatever price the record that area will demand, it's a thrill. So let's get down to it. These are from 3 yard sales, and you'll just see I just had an incredible day. I picked up some tapes at that one that was advertised, and I've never seen this before, Beach Boys American Summer. This has hits on it. It's a compilation. And I haven't tested these yet. And I picked up Bee Gees Greatest Hits, which is their greatest hits from their Jive Talking disco years. And this last one I thought was cool to have was a Simon and Garfunkel. There were plenty of tapes. There was some Sinatra, some Dean Martin, some minor rock and roll like the Carpenters, but I didn't want to get it down. But I was glad I did, because what I didn't spend at this place, I later on spent at this other, which was where I received some really good stuff. So here's a one. These are all, this is VG Plus. I haven't seen this too often. Grassroots, Let's Live for Today. This is a good one, which I've seen, and I actually, it actually came from a local record store. Pete Seeger, young V old. Cool Pete Seeger. This is a good one. This is an original. I think it's a gatefold. Sly and the Family Stone. Stand on Epic in VG Plus. Here's a nice one that actually also came from a local store, but I was in the area. Ball and Jack, which is pretty cool. I'm not sure if they did a few albums. Ball and Jack, kind of psychedelia, blues on Columbia. Let me see. Record is in really nice shape. But stay till the end, because I've got a real surprise. And I want to thank everyone, before I forget, for supporting the channel, dropping in, leaving comments. I have some regulars. The channel's growing pretty good. I want to thank everyone for the likes, because likes apparently bring more people to the video, which I wasn't really aware of. But if you can like it, just click it. It doesn't cost anything. Doesn't make you doesn't get you more, more reactions to my videos or more notifications. But if you do subscribe, I believe you'll get notified. So, and subscriptions are what we're trying to build. So if you haven't subscribed, I appreciate that. Here's a great one. First Boston on Columbia. I believe this is Epic. And we'll see what this looks like. Some I looked at. Epic. And be careful. I did get excited, and I'll point out a couple. I think I pulled them, but a couple records had the wrong record in the sleeve. For instance, it was a Steve Miller with, I think, a Peter, Paul, and Mary record in it, because I just pulled it out to check. And when I saw some of these, believe me, there's not just one Grail, but for some, there were many Holy Grails. And I just said, let me work this out. Let me get this. Let me get a price before other collectors come and they dig into the pile. So, but you just have to be careful. But in my case, it didn't really matter. Two records that were, misplaced inside, it didn't really matter. They weren't of value, of big value. I have them. So it just goes with the territory. But I was able to quickly check, and I did reject quite a few that were scuffed up at these different yard sales. Here's a nice one, a promo of ABBA's Greatest Hits. There's the gatefold. This is a really nice one. This is a Tommy OG Decca in really nice shape. There's a hairline, which I think will play right through. This doesn't have the libretto. The libretto may have been in something else, but there's the nice Decca. And these sound great. I don't have a British original. I do have some reissues, but this record is just mind-blowing. Here's another one that's really nice, a Capitol, early Beatles, VG Plus. There's the lads there now on Capitol. And we have a Beatles 65. This is a high fidelity mono. And this was funny when I went out. I left my house early. I left about 7 for an 8 o'clock. I figured I'd get there 7:15. They were in the area, and I go out with the prayer to the vinyl God. Today I will find my butcher cover. Okay, now I'm not going to say I found a butcher cover because I didn't. I found a Grail, and someday I'll find that butcher cover. Someday. Here's another Beatle. This was marked on the cover $3.99. This is a later pressing, which I don't have. The jacket's not in great shape, but this is a purple Capital, which is I think 80s maybe, and these sound relatively, I would think, just as good as any Capital release. I know the purple Capitals that I do have and that I did look up were desirable, so I don't have this on a purple Capital. So this was a nice pickup because I do collect Beatles. Here's some more things from the 80s, which was on one of the stops. These are all near mint. City Boy, The Day the Earth Caught Fire. Don't know this album, but I will play it and look it up. And here's another one which I've never seen before. Gary Lewis from Gary Lewis and the Playboys on Liberty. And this is his band on the back. And here he dropped the Playboys. So I would consider this a solo record. Really nice shape. I would say it has one hairline. Oh, no, it's hair. Actually, a hair. So this is near mint. And I met Gary Lewis at a local concert one day. Got his autograph, asked about his father. This has some interesting tunes on it. This one I'm not familiar with, but I will play it. I saw Elvis Presley last night. Written by Gary Lewis. And this looks pretty good. So, Roll Over Rover, does Great Balls of Fire, mostly tunes that he penned. But there you have it. Here's a nice one. The Stanky Brown Band, Our Pleasure to Serve You. This is near mint. The jackets on these later pressings, on these later records that I picked up, were really nice. Here's one that I know I don't have. Doug Crenshaw, who I like. This is one of his solo records. I believe he was only a solo artist. I show you the label, Green Warner, in near mint condition, very early. Bert Jansk, who I picked up the jacket, has some damage to it, but for a yard sale deal on Vanguard, I figured this would be worth having. I'm looking forward to play this. Where I'm going to find the time to play a lot of these, I'm not sure. Best of Bread, which I already have, but I figured I'd pick this up. This was in really nice shape. Actually, I would say it's near mint. And the Best of Bread has the hits, Make It With You, Everything I Own, Baby I'ma Want You. Now, the Baby I'ma Want You on this compared to the Baby I'ma Want You on the vinyl is, fidelity-wise, 5 to 10 points down. If you really want to hear Baby I'ma Want You, pick up that album that has a painted, or an attached photo to the front, and there's still bargains. And that record is an OG pressing with audiophile sound. Here's a really nice one, Gatefold, Rascals' Greatest Hits. Previously, the Young Rascals. This has How Can I Be Sure, A Beautiful Morning, Mustang Sally, who they covered, Midnight Hour, which they covered. And I met Wilson Pickett, who I believe wrote the Midnight Hour and Mustang Sally. I met Wilson Pickett, and I will talk about him in a later video. I had him sign a few CDs. These are nice. This is the only jazz in the collection. The Dude, Quincy Jones, Near Mint. This is another Blue-Eyed Soul, Average White Band. This has Warmer Communications is the title. Not sure of the hit on here. As you know, Pick Up the Pieces, big hit. And these guys were on Atlantic. Here's another, the other jazz is another Quincy and stuff like that. This is a really good sounding record. Superwoman, I believe, is a Stevie Wonder, Taking It to the Streets. I'm going to Miss You in the Morning. And so really nice. This is the embossed cover jacket. This is nice. Association, Greatest Hits. This has a barcode, so it's not a first pressing. But I'm sure this is going to sound good because I have a green Warner, and I believe I have the next Warner pressing. So this has a great tune on it, 6-man band, which is a rocker. Doesn't associate with the associations at all, no pun intended. But this is amazing. Along Comes Mary, Never My Love, Windy, The Time Is Today. And it's just really happy to find that. Here's another OG, which is in Near Mint, Clapton, 461 Ocean Boulevard. I Shot the Sheriff, started a whole reggae craze in London, England, Europe, and around the world. You know, someone else was doing reggae. Obviously, the Marley was doing reggae, the Tough Tones, the tons of reggae bands, but they didn't break through in the States, I believe, until Clapton got a hold of this. There may have been some other reggae flavored tunes, but I Shot the Sheriff did it. Here's which I consider a minor Grail. It's the original press, not on Atco, but on Capricorn. And you could tell it's the original press because inside the cover, I haven't cleaned these yet. I do clean these with a baby, non-alcoholic baby wipe, just to get the musky smell out. But let me put on my shades here. But this tells you, in this record, in this 2-record set, side 1 is back with side 4, and side 2 is back with side 3. And it says it right there. And that's because in the decade of the record changers, in the 60s and 70s, when this was released, you would put your records on and it would drop. So they would drop in sequence. Now, I have another copy of this that I played the other day, ironically, and I played it all 4 sides. And let me tell you, effing amazing. The bass, the guitar, the 2 drummers, Dwayne's on the left, Dickie's on the right, just jamming. But the record I have has this insert note, but my records are 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. These records, here's the original sleeve. These records are side 2 and side 3, which is correct for this box. So just happy to have an earlier press. Like I said, my pressing it was off the chart. I'm just wondering if this is a little better. This is another Grail, I'm sure, for people who like Guns N' Roses. This is Mint. I've never even seen this record before. The Spaghetti Incident. Here's another Grail on OG. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, original. I'll show you the label. Untouched Inner. I think this is engineered by Shelly Yakis. The original press. These are Mint. Yard sale. Remember that. This wasn't up on the wall. in a record store or on eBay. This is a Grail. Not the Grail, but a Grail. Here's another one. It's a little, I pulled it out. I knew it wasn't an RL. It's kind of a VG, but I figured maybe it is an RL. It could be an RL and someone redid it and slipped it in. So it could have been an RL. I picked it up. It's not an RL, but you don't let Zeppelin stay on the crate in the yard sale when you're crate digging. It's bad luck. If you do it, you may not find that butcher cover. This is a Grail for me. Never saw it. 45 RPM. Casadega, Don't Bring Me Down. And there's another tune on here. It's a 3-tune EP. Casadega, Don't Bring Me Down. And Here Comes My Girl, 45 RPM. If you know anything about this, let me know because I've never seen this. When I go to record stores, I go through the artists, that are marked, and I always look for the 12-inch. Sometimes they're bargains. Sometimes you might get lucky. Most of the time they're promos, and I have a really nice collection, which I showed a few videos ago of 12-inch. Here's another one. This is an original. It's a cutout. I believe this might be Clapton's second solo album, but it's with the Delaney and Bonnie and a lot of the Dominoes crew here. As you can see, it's a great album. RSO, Robert Stigwood. We're not even halfway through, so if you want to fast forward and see what that Grail is or watch the video, I'll try to move up a little bit more. Another Allman, Gatefold, double record, collection of the greatest recordings. I'll speed it up. This I thought originally when I was looking through in my haste, I thought this was the New York Dolls, but this is the Alice Cooper I'm 18, which I didn't have an original. So now I do. And that crack you heard was the gatefold, wasn't even fully cracked. That's on a Warner. I'm not sure if this is original Warner. Probably is. I'm 18. So really nice. Great photograph of Alice and the guys. Here's another good one, which I have, but picked it up. Ted Nugent, a rocker, Penetration, has barcode, but I think this was with a barcode originally. This is a Grail, again, minor Grail, embossed cover, ACDC, a Robert Ludwig engineer, Roger Ludwig cut album. There's the RL inside. And here's the inner. Now these are from about 3. I went through about 5 yard sales. These are from about 3 yard sales, so they're mixed in. But I was really blessed by the vinyl gods. Here's another DC, Highway to Hell. I'm not sure if this was a Ludwig, but if it is, this is probably it. These are early pressings. Here's another cool one. Jefferson Airplane, 30 Seconds Over Winterland on Grunt. This is a single. I believe I have this as a gatefold somewhere, if I'm correct. So here's the original inner. Like the Airplane, don't really like Starship as much. Here's a nice one. It's an excellent condition. Candio, a Vargas drawing. If you know who Vargas is, Vargas was a illustrator, women, and he had a monthly painting in Playboy magazine, probably for their entire run, and that was always a highlight, along with articles Don't get me wrong, there was other attributes, but Vargas's painting were tremendous. If you could see what I'm talking about. And I think there was a little bit about this model written somewhere in Rolling Stone. But anyway, Vargas was a monthly feature in Playboy. Here's another nice one, Capital, BG, Mono, Meet the Beatles. This is the original inner. Rainbow Capital. Now, I've done a whole video. If you can't sleep one night and you want to look at it, you'll go right out. But seriously, a whole video on the Capitol Beatles inners, also on the Elvis inners, which really rare on YouTube VC channels. I have a lot of time on my hands, and I wanted to do those. So here's another one I didn't have, but I picked up. Yard sale find. Johnny Winter on Blue Sky Records, which is his label. He did a couple with Muddy Waters on Blue Sky, which one is called Heart Again. So I'm not sure. There's another one. Ted Nugent, Free for All. It's kind of got a, maybe I should have let this stay there. The record's in rough shape, but like I said, I was happy to find these, and they were from a few different. I like to pick up when I go out. It's time consuming. You have the expense of gas. You have the danger of getting into an accident out there in the morning with all these crazies. Traffic's getting really bad up here again. So I always, if I stop at a sale that has albums, I try to pick up at least one just to make my trip worth it. And I usually can find something. And I have thousands to prove that. But this one, there were no brainers. Here's another one, Gatefold. A great tull, one of my favorite tulls. Too Old to Rock and Roll, Too Young to Die. A ZZ Top, one of my favorites. This has on it Arrested for Driving, She's a Heartbreaker, Asleep in the Desert. This is a great record. And this is there's the album. And this is an actual original trifold cover. I'm sure the reissues are maybe just a gatefold. There are the boys with the short beard. Here we have another Grail. Tom Petty on board on a Shelter label. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. You gotta get it. This is unbelievable. I Need to Know. Another cool 80s record, Kiki D, I've Got the Music in Me. This is a great sounding record. I believe she was signed by the Rocket label, which is Elton John, because Elton John dug her. And this is a great record. This is an original. This is embossed. Here's another Grail for, you'll see what I mean. Okay, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap on Atlantic. And this is near mint. All yard sales. Here's another great one, Gatefold, which I showed, I think, in my Clapton segment. So this is an addition to the collection. If you don't have this record, if you don't want to buy the vinyl, there's a CD. That's the entire, I believe, or most of the show. These are excerpts. It's only a single record, maybe 40 minutes. There's a CD that's probably, I guess, up to 70 minutes. And the fidelity in that's pretty good. Here's another nice one to pick up at a yard sale. Synchronicity, the different colors on the covers. Or let me restate that. The record came with variant covers, so I have to see which variant I have. Here's a nice one. This is just an MCA. It's not a Decca. One of the best rock and roll albums of all time. Who's Next? Associate producer Glenn John. Glenn Johns, he probably engineered it. I think he did engineer these. You got a producing track. Recorded and mixed by Glenn Johns at Olympic Studios. Won't Get Fooled Again. A really nice record. Here's another Grail, an original. Eat a Peach. Studio and live recordings. This picks up on the Fillmore, I believe. Mountain Jam is on here. Mountain Jam continued. So it's two sides of just Mountain Jam. But if you had two Allman Brother records to buy, it would be Fillmore and Eat a Peach, in my humble opinion. As you know, I believe it was either Dwayne or Barry Oakley who collided with a peach truck. But my memory, it's one of those, I think. Another ZZ Top, Eliminator, classic. This had hits on it. Give Me All Your Lovin', Got Me Under Pressure, Legs, Sharp Dressed Man, If I Could Only Fly Her Down. This is every wedding that I was ever invited to or worked. We had Legs for the garter and Sharp Dressed Man when he threw the garter. The man when the groom threw the garter. So these are heavy pop hits. Here's another one. So one I showed earlier is the second copy. Another trifold. Tejas. And here's another one, a great record, which I thought I had, but I couldn't find it. Dwayne Allman, an anthology. And I believe on here is a track he did with Wilson Pickett, if I'm not mistaken. But I have to check. But he did record with Wilson Pickett. Here's the booklet. In pretty good condition. Actually, it's in great condition. Just a little dusty. And there's the gatefold. And we're getting to the end, so hold that channel. We're almost done. This will give you a little hint of what the Grail is. Street Survivors, MCA. This is the cover that came out after the original cover was recalled. And that was a yard sale find. And if you don't know what I'm talking about original jacket, here you have it. A Grail. Here's the record. I just put them in plastic, cleaned it. Now, this record has never been played. I don't believe it's been played. The spindle was really tight. I had trouble removing it. I put it on because I wasn't going to do the little thingamajig with it because I'm going to keep it in this condition. I'm not going to play it. But a true holy grail. And these are all yard sale finds. 3 yard sales. I went to about 5. And I picked up this collection in different spots. So go out there and ask. If you don't see records, ask. First, ask if they have tapes. Usually if they have tapes or cassettes, they have records. Before cassettes and 8-track, everyone had records. A lot of people will tell me, give it to my kids. I said, that's great. I'm glad. A lot of people tell me, got rid of them 2 years ago, gave them away, which is bad for me or for you because we missed out. A lot of people say to me, I'm holding on to them, which I tell them, fantastic. I give them my card. If you ever want to sell some of them, or if you want some advice on what to do with them, please call me. Let them know I have a YouTube channel recently, and I talked to them about my YouTube channel. And you have to ask, one day, it's about 6-7 years ago, I went to a yard sale. I asked the woman, do you have any records? Oh, we have records downstairs in the basement. So I went down there, and apparently it was used by teenagers or young adults, because there was a bass on a stand, there were amps, there were records all over, but they were all metal, Kiss, hair bands, which is bands like I consider Duran Duran or Van Halen, or Whitesnake, things metal, but not goth metal, but metal and hair stuff that I didn't buy. And I said, what happened? She goes, well, we had my nephews here. They were living here for 5 years. They took off. We haven't heard from them. I want to get rid of all their stuff. I said, are you sure? And the records were pretty mildewy. When you took them out, they actually had moisture, but they were fine. I could see. And I knew with my vacuum VPI vacuum cleaner, I could get these things pristine because they weren't worn. And I made an offer. I must have taken 50 or 60 albums. I really only left stuff that the jackets were destroyed. I'm more of a purist. I need the jacket in nice shape, not just the vinyl. I wish I would have took some of the other ones, but you have to ask. That's the key, and just be polite. Ask. A lot of times they'll say to you, well, what do you think they're worth? And you give them a fair price. The current rate at the yard sale, as you know, $1 to $5. Estate sales, $2 to $5 for any record. And the estate sale guys who run the estate sales know the prices. A lot of people out in the wild, they're just selling someone else's records. They don't really know the prices, or they don't really care. They want to get rid of them in bulk. But I got really lucky. Like I said, the vinyl gods were with me that day. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it inspires you to get out there. And once again, thank you for supporting the channel. Hope you can subscribe. Hope you can like. And we'll see you around the turntable. Thanks a lot. Keep rocking. Tony out. Thank you. Bye-bye.